Hi there everyone, welcome back to the Loft for Weir Yard, and it's probably going to be a bit of a shorter update than you're used to, and that's because other projects are overtaking me, taking up all my time. But over there in the corner, yes, you can start to see, I have managed to find a way to get over there and do that embankment. It's not ideal, but it's getting there. That lichen needs to get some hairspray and some scatter over it to tone it down. Really, it was just a case of using it up and just trying to disguise the fact that it's so difficult to reach over there. But I've done it, sort of. And also, I've been doing some other work as well. You can see those cobbles there. They're still all glue wet. But it's a technique that I developed. I'm trying to think when I developed that. It's probably about 4 layouts ago. What I discovered was that if you get the tops of the rails a little bit grubby and then press down the card embossed cobble sheets over the top of the rails, you get a perfect line where the rail will be. You then cut along that as a guide. And as long as you take account of the fact that obviously the rails have a thickness, so counter that when you cut out the next piece and then the next piece after that. And what you end up with is a nice snug fit around the rails. It's not ideal for running trains frequently. You've got to be very careful when cleaning it. But as this is largely a scenic area, it's going to be all right, I think. I've also got a hole drilled and the wire for the lighting inside that building passed down through to underneath, so when I do get round to it I should be able to get that all lit up. And then this little gap of baseboard and stuff like that at the edge, I need to ballast the track where it's not cobbled, and then figure out probably ballast actually all the way across, and then stick, using glue, some scatter in various places to make it look like just overgrown ballast. But I need to get some fencing. I'll get some fencing from the ratio range and fence off that area. And I kind of like the idea of having a gate across there that I can have so I can open and shut it. And then this head shunt here will still remain on railway land, and I'll probably use that to fill it with various bits and pieces. But that is just going to be a scenic area, and I'm going to get road vehicles in there. Now, it's something that Les brought up, is that it's a shame really that that goods shed has to go that way round, but it has to, because if it didn't, then the lovely doors that are modelled on the other side would just open straight out onto the main line, which is, it just isn't realistic. So I had to bite the bullet and have it that way round. It's such a shame because the other side of that building is really beautiful. But, you know, it still works pretty well there. I need to tone it down and weather it. I have chosen to PVA glue that down because if I ever need to move it, it's quite easy to prise it up without damaging it. That building, however, I decided is just placed there. It won't come out very readily, but I figured just in case there's a problem, I'm going to leave that just sitting there loose. Now, the way that I've done this paving, it's actually all the way underneath these buildings. You don't get any unsightly gaps. That's the plan. Also, I've done this, what I call flat relief building. You might recognise that off Trinity Road out in the shed. It's one of the flat relief buildings that was out there. Now, I've put that there, that is glued on, and I'm going to salvage some more bits and pieces which will sort of come along here to the edge here, and then it's going to be retaining walls further along and put trees and bushes in there. So that is the plan. Now, that point motor is for that end of the double slip, and it will work in tandem with that point, so they will both be motorised. However, That side of the double slip will not be, because this is not even energized. I've got it completely isolated, and the idea is that it will be just purely scenic. I don't envisage ever even wanting to particularly shunt in there, but the fact that I can switch these two together means that I can theoretically shunt trains in using reach wagons. So that's the plan. And that's pretty much where I'm up to. So that embankment extends just to basically where you saw the end of the J cloth, but it tones it down somewhat, and we're reaching a point where this one awkward corner is pretty much getting to completion. So I'm very pleased with that. Over there, well, I've stuffed some insulation right up into the corner to plug up where I had a bit of a draft, and just test fitting some spare packaging. Just trying to work out what I'm going to do there. Those can come out, it's not a big issue if needs be, but I want to salvage the street scene from Trinity Road in its entirety. I've returned out here to the shed, and you can see that the buildings that were on top of the tunnel, they are now off. Done a bit of work there, and they've come off all in one piece on the board that they were mounted on. So now here's a site that you will have never seen before. Hidden away at the end were these two posters, and that's because these houses were salvaged from a previous layout, and these posters have not been seen since it was on there. So yeah, a bit of a rare sight there. They're a bit dusty, a bit dirty, but they will find a new home up on Weir Yard somehow. I'm going to have to separate them from this wooden board. It's not really usable as is, so it should be okay. Some of the pavements are actually just peeling off quite readily, so I don't see it being a big problem to actually get these houses up and off. There's a few repairs maybe to the chimney pots, but overall it's quite a nice little street, and you never really got to see its full beauty where it was tucked away in that corner. And I always really liked the backs, so I'll have to decide which way round I want it. They are actually fitted for lights. The lights did work. It's got a little bit damaged coming out from there, and you can also see on the underside, again revealed for the first time in a long time, that this piece of wood has already lived in my father's Hornby 003 rail layout. So you can actually see a vague outline of where the track was and where the track screws went in. I'm going to take this up into Weir Yard, and that's going to go over there somehow, maybe with some of the other houses that are being salvaged. So still a lot of thought needs to go into there, but really pleased that this side is coming along. Oh, I just wish that I'd thought to do that first, and that's a lesson to everybody, that it's very easy to get carried away with what you see in the foreground and forget that you probably ought to start at the back and work forwards. So what I've actually had to do is I've had to use little pieces of plywood to spread my weight over the track, and I've actually been kneeling over there. It is quite astounding just how strong the ballast with the PVA actually is, because it's strengthened the baseboard so much that all of this will now quite happily take my weight, it turns out. I mean, it does flex a little bit, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was when it was just bare baseboards. I did reinforce underneath a little bit back when I built it, but it's certainly, the ballast and PVA has really strengthened this up an awful lot. In terms of the rest of up here, not really done anything else, so I'm going to leave you with that. I know it's a short update, but I've been so busy with stuff that I can't tell you about just yet. So stay tuned to this frequency, same bat channel, same bat time. But next week we're going to be doing some bits and pieces to replace the live stream and the Wednesday video, and I think the Friday video I'm going to have to film that a week early because I am working away from home somewhere down south, so I'm not actually going to be able to get up here to do anything. But thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate having your company and being able to show you the progress up here in the loft with Weir Yard. So love to hear from you as well. Let me know how your model railway is doing in the comments. Always love to hear from you. And feel free to chat amongst yourselves down there in the comments as well. I like to foster a nice little community feel with the Jenny Monday Club. We've got some merchandise actually on the way, which is themed around that. So I will let you know when that does go live, and it's something that you can flaunt with pride and let other people know that you are a very much appreciated member of the Jenny Monday Club. But until then, you take really good care of yourself. This is me, Jenny Kirk, saying bye for now. Today's video has been brought to you in part thanks to the generous donation of my fans on Patreon. And a huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Mark Anthony, Michael Churchwood, Bob Threeton, Alec Ralph, Anthony Hunt, William Wade, Wayne Johns, and Offshore Alan. If you'd like to help support the show, head on over to patreon.com/Jennifer Kirk. Thank you. Today's video has been brought to you by my books, Bringing Home the Stars, Twinkle Little Star, and also you can get the complete comic collections of All Over the House, Books 1, Books 2, and also the wacky zany Life of Knob T. Mouse. Thanks, and catch you later.